What's up, guys? It's Ivaldi Sako. Welcome to the show. So, today, I want to talk about the 30 things that I think could prevent you from succeeding and that you should eliminate. I need to eliminate, and so I'm going to tell you to do the same thing because I think it's the best thing for you to do. We'll also talk about what I learned from two pretty good movies, and also reading an ancient book. What I learned also reading the principles, the book Principles by Ray Dalio, and from what a stranger in the street told me. I just had an interaction with a stranger and he told me something that made me think, and I think it was interesting, for the least. And also, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to give up on one of my goals and why it might be the best choice for you to do the same thing. If you don't know me, my name is Ivaldi Sako, by the way. I discovered personal development and entrepreneurship through online content. And so I went from not wanting to live anymore to becoming a personal trainer, working with a guy, going in business with a guy making 300K a month while I was not even in business yet. And now building my own business. It's been like 3 years I'm in business. So online content completely changed my life, and this is why I want to do the same thing for you. Hopefully it does change your life a little bit, makes it better. This is why I do this. And so with this podcast, basically what I do is I just journal every week. I document my journey to help you become truly free and successful, make your life better, or get to the next level of success. If that interests you, I suggest you subscribe because you're at the right place to do all of this and make your life better. This is what I this is the only reason why I do this, and I'll tell you at the end, maybe not at the end, but I'll tell you later that I'm going to be focusing more on this podcast instead of other things. So I also want you to please share the show if and only if you got some value out of this at the end. You just decide. You got some value, share it. If you didn't, well, don't, because if you do, I'll be in trouble. So, let's get into it. Hables español. This is what a guy told me in the street. And so, he told me, you look like Spanish, like you're Spanish or you're Italian. And I'm not. And so, I told him, well, no, I'm not. Well, you just have this vibe. You have this vibe about you. You have, I don't know, I feel like you're from these kind of countries. And reflecting back on it, seeing it, he told me he was Moroccan. Moroccan, right? And what was funny was that he looked Spanish. He looked Italian. He looked those kind of things. And so if you haven't watched yet the podcast on the mindset training that I did a few weeks back, I talked about how who you think you are determines who you actually are. And so if you have if you're thinking about something, you're going to become it, because you're going to have the belief that's going to make you take actions on it. And so this guy just looked actually Spanish. And so I thought, man, the world is a reflection of who you are. He saw what he thought of himself. Like he was thinking about those things. About like he was thinking I knew he was in this vibe, right? He was like thinking, maybe consuming content from Spanish people. I don't know. But he was thinking about those things, and so he saw that. He saw what he wanted to see. Maybe not. But I think this was the case. And so he became like the people that he was thinking about. Like I thought he was Spanish. I thought he was Italian. I thought he was of these kind of countries. They might say, well, he's Moroccan. You have this head. You both look like this. I don't know. But you have this like energy about you when you think about something. It reflects on your outer world. And so it really made me think that this is very weird that he gives me this kind of vibes, and he tells me that I have this kind of vibes, right? It's just because like what he sees is what he chooses to see. And so this is like just a point on the mindset training, which, by the way, if you haven't watched yet, I think it's the best use of your time to watch the whole training, the 3-part, 30-40 minutes training of mindset training that will like just change your life for the best, like way more than this one. This podcast is like a little bit more chill. The other one was like a prepared training that will help you change your life for the best, become a new person that will be effortlessly capable of achieving your goals. Like you will brainwash yourself to success. That's actually the case, and it works. I tried it. This is how I became a personal trainer. This is how I got to working. I'm going in business with a guy making 300K a month. This is how I did it. I brainwashed myself to success. I attracted new things because I became a new person. Just side note, because it's actually very useful. If you want to listen to this podcast first and then go there, your choice. I suggest you just go there right now. Honestly, I don't care if you listen to this until the end if you haven't watched and listened to and applied the mindset training, because it will really change your life. And then you can come back and listen to this. It's still pretty useful, I think. And so I also thought, because he told me I looked Italian, I was like, you know what? My name, Ivaldi, is Italian. It's an Italian name. And I was like, maybe I do embody the identity of an Italian because I was given this name. And it made me think of the one chapter of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. In his book, Dale Carnegie, I want to say, I'm not sure about the author. Anyway, he says you got to give a dog a good name to live up to. And so maybe this is what my parents did to me. I started to become almost Italian, right? I almost like have this vibe about me because I have been given the name of someone who is Italian. And so maybe I look like this because of that. It all, like, honestly, it does work. When you give someone a good name to live up to, they will try and they will identify as this, and so they will think about this, they will believe that, and take actions accordingly with this, which will make them become the actual thing. When you want someone to, I don't know, do something for you, you will say, oh, like, Samantha, you're so kind, right? You're such a kind person. Could you do this for me? And so she identifies as a kind person. Like, of course, if you like do it in a way that's obvious, that you are trying to get something out of her, she's not gonna do it. Or maybe it's not gonna work the same way. But you get the point, right? If you like, this is what in How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is how he explains it, right? He says, like, if you say, like, to your kid, you're like a really strong man, he's gonna act like a strong man, right? That's the idea behind it. So I thought it was funny, just like a stranger. I was thinking about this thing, right? I was thinking about it, and then something in my life happened that made me think of it even more. And so it really, like, life is a reflection of who you are and what you think about. So be careful about this. Pay attention to that. It's really, really useful. Well, it's working for you whether you want it or not. It's working in your life whether you want it or not. And it can be working for you if you control it, and it might be working against you if you're not controlling it. Anyway, this one thing that I thought was funny this week. To be honest with you, this week I focus more on my health. Because I started, for those who don't know, I guess most people watching this don't know, I've hurt my hands working too much on the computer, so I've injured my hands, and lately it was like kind of healing. I was focused on that a lot for a few months, and it healed, and now, I don't know, this week it came back from nowhere. I started working again. It was okay up until this week. I don't know, maybe I got some, like, a little bit sick because I was around sick people. but I didn't feel the sickness, but I felt that my hands were hurting again. And I was kind of like overwhelmed. This was not a great week for me. I'm saying this for my journaling because I do this actual journal. Like when I look back at this, I'm happy to see okay what I went through and what I learned each part of the journey. So it's kind of useful for me. Um, and so I didn't feel that good this week because I felt overwhelmed. I was focusing on my health, and like I have to put too much emphasis on my health. Plus, I see that my hands are not like I feel like my hands are not gonna heal ever because it's been so long, and you start almost like giving up any hope that it will ever go the way. So at one point, I was kind of almost indulging in self pity, to be honest with you. Like honestly, like I kind of cried. To be honest, like it's embarrassing to say, but like at one point, like you have like too much pain, and you feel like it's always going to be this way, and all your goals are not never going to be happening just because you can't do anything about them. You like it hurts when you work, when you do want to do something and you can't do it because you physically can't. It's bothering for the least to say. So I kind of indulge in self like not for a long time, like just maybe for 10 minutes. It was a long time for me. 5 to 10 minutes, I was like just in my head. I was emotional. I didn't sleep well at the same time. This is why I'm saying I might have become sick because when I'm resting, I got pretty much 8 hours of sleep all day, all week, and yet I still didn't feel really rested after that. And so when your body is sick, it needs more recovery, and so you might feel like you need more sleep than usual. So this was I would not say an intense week. I would say like it's honestly a sad, not very that productive week. And yeah, that's the truth. I want to be completely transparent with you to like all along the journey. But I managed to do some pretty good things at the same time. And one of those things, I think I'll get to you the 30 the list of 30 things that will prevent you from succeeding and achieving your goals, and me too. Like this is I did that for myself because one of the things I need to do this week was to make this list, and so I did it. I did it at night. I did it at night the day I felt very overwhelmed. I was like, okay, I need to eliminate a lot of things in my life, and this is what you got to do often to be able to succeed. Like decluttering your life is one of the best things you could do. One of the best uses of your time is just that. You just like erase things from your life. You empty it so that it's a lot easier to do things that are important. And so here's the list that I did for me. I'm not telling you this is what you necessarily need to focus on. Maybe you need to do your own list of things that could prevent you from succeeding because you know yourself better than I do. But I think those things that I found for myself are often the case for a lot of people. So this is why I'm sharing it. So, a list of things that could prevent me from succeeding: killing myself, giving up, settling for something less, then realizing life is not worth living for and suffering for, and ending your life. So you can see that this was not the greatest week of my life. Not be fully committed, being overwhelmed, not take because being overwhelmed. Why? Because you're not. I'm not taking enough action, and I'm not mostly deciding quickly enough. So I have like a lot of decisions that I need to make, and I'm not doing them. I'm not acting upon them, and I have too many projects going on at the same time. And this is why I'm going to give up on one of my goals. And I'm going to tell you exactly what goal it is, and I think it's useful for you to know. So being overwhelmed, not taking enough rest time to not burn out, being too hard on myself, and ending in a bad cycle. So ending in a bad cycle is all about like the thing that I talked to you about in the beginning of the podcast is like when you have no control over your feedback loop, your mental feedback loop. Like, it's what you think about is going to be repeating itself in a feedback loop, in a loop, right? So you're going to repeat a bad thought, and so this thought is going to be ingrained and become a belief and end in a bad cycle. So I don't want that. So uh, being too hard on myself will make it more likely that I have bad thoughts that repeat in my head. And I have this kind of like bad voice in my head, like always telling me like, you're not good enough. You're not. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, what are you doing? Like, man, you just like, not the fan voice in my head. So I'm trying to just always mitigate that and controlling the repetition, the amount of repetition that it does in my head, so that like I prevent it from repeating itself and believing this voice. Also, not getting things done. That means that just like I stop midway. So I just like start doing something and then I stop because I have another thing going on and I just don't get the thing done. I need to get things done, complete them. And this is why I kind of feel bad about giving up on one of my goals. But I still think it's the best choice. Working, not be focused. So pretty obvious, just not be focused, doing multiple things at a time, and all of my life, and at the same time on a precise task. So not multitasking, multitasking. I'm French, by the way, so this is why I have a little bit of struggle finding my words, pronouncing the right words at the right times, right. But I think you can pretty much well comprehend me. So I hope it's not a problem. Working too slow. So I'm just like some often I'm slow, and so it's fast is a lot better than slow. This is one of my values in my company, our business. Like it's like fast is a lot better than slow. We just do things fast, but I tend sometimes to do things slowly, and so I want to not do this because it will prevent me from succeeding, because someone else might take more like actions faster than me, and so I'll be at a disadvantage. And at one point, like, success is like, it's just like putting all your odds in your favor to be able to succeed and make it as likely as possible that you do succeed. Lying, and this is a big thing, and I'm going to stop the list right now for this point, lying, because I've got a few things on that. Lying is one of the biggest thing that could prevent you from succeeding, because it will help you escape the truth. It will help you like feel good on the moment and not facing the truth. And so I watched one of the movie I watched was Flight with Denzel Washington, and in the story, Denzel Washington is a main character, right? And he is a pilot, and a pilot that has a drinking problem. And I don't want to spoil you, but he basically has a drinking problem, and so he's a pilot, and so this kind of messes it up, right? I'm not gonna spoil you. Well, it's kind of hard not to spoil you. Basically, he just realizes that he's not facing the truth, and it causes him big problem. And then he realizes that he needs to face the truth, and he realizes that if he does faces the truth, he'll be more free than anything else that he could do. Like, just facing the truth will free him more than anything else. Like, this is actual freedom in the mind. Like, right now, the number one thing that I chase is freedom. Now, I'm a little bit like a paranoid guy, so I want freedom in all areas of life, and like I want extreme freedom. So right now I'm not free to me, right? So I have to pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't think it's a good idea to pay taxes where I live, and I still do. So I'm not free of doing this, right? But it's kind of my choice to remain here, to stay here and not go somewhere else. So, you know, and at the same time, it's freedom in my mind, freedom from pain. Like a lot of time, I just want to run from suffering, from like my hands. Like I don't feel free right now because my hands hurt too bad. I want to be free of this pain. And he, in the movie, he wants to be free as well, and he uses the truth to do that. And one of the ancient book that I read this week, as often I do these past weeks, seems so. I read the Bible, and it's going to serve you even though you're not a Christian, even though you don't believe in God. It is going to serve you still. Which, by the way, I think you still like would profit a lot from believing in God and some higher power, whatever you want. I'm not here to how do you say that? Preach on you. I'm not here to do this, but I'm still going to read you some passage from Paul, sending letters to Corinthians. So he says some things about the truth, and it's like it hit me. Like I was like, okay, this is true. I need to face the truth, and then I discovered some kind of truth for me, which made me go and do some decision on giving up on my goals. So I'm going to explain to you like the kind of frame, the framework that I used. And so it came from this. Well, I don't know if it's this one. Wait a second. It was okay. All right. Now this is our boast. I don't recall the passage from the Bible, but he says this. Now this is our boast. Our conscience testifies that we have conducted ourselves in the world, and especially in our relations with you, with integrity and godly sincerity. We have done so relying not on worldly wisdom, but on God's grace. So this is what he says, and basically, like, that's like, this is why they have pride in this. This is the only thing they have pride in, is in being people of integrity, like having truth, and because of this, it allows them to be confident, to be like very confident when you shed light on your problems, when you just face the truth and you're okay with it, and you deal with it. It makes you a lot more confident. It makes you free of this weight because your lies imprison you. I've talked about this, I think, in another podcast. It was like I was telling you about radical honesty, telling the truth by some, I don't remember the author. It was a book. And he tells you about like there's layers of freedom that you can get to when you tell the truth. It's very hard to do it because it makes you very uncomfortable. Like in the movie, like he doesn't want to admit, like it's not a spoiler. Like Denzel Washington, the character, doesn't want to admit that he has a drinking problem, and I don't suggest, by the way, that you say like the alcohol, like anonymous alcoholic things, right? They say, my name is Ivaldi Sako. I am an alcoholic, right? And they repeat that. It's good to admit and face the truth, but I don't suggest that you repeat that. Just saying this like it's just no. It makes you imagine that you are actually this kind of person, and it reinforces this idea. You don't want to reinforce it. You want to eliminate. You want to eliminate it completely. Like, not think about this. Not even be like, there's a scale on which you are an alcoholic. You're like addicted to something, right? You're on this scale. What you want is to get like out of the scale. You don't want to be, okay, how addicted am I, right? Because it's not whether you're addicted, whether you're alcoholic or not. It's to which degree are you an alcoholic? And so when you say, I am an alcoholic, you are like, okay, you define yourself as this scale, on this scale. What you want is to not even think about this scale. Be on a different scale, a scale of health, right? Not even be on this thing. You want nothing to do with this, and so you don't talk about this. What would someone that doesn't have a drinking problem do? He would not think about, oh, I have a drinking problem. No. He would think about something else. He would think about, oh, where am I going to work out tomorrow? Like, I don't know. This is the kind of things that he will talk about. Now, this is important to face the truth and maybe get help at the same time, but do not reinforce the idea that you are. I am an alcoholic. I am. When you reinforce this is affirmations working against you. Like, this is literally what it is. So just some side note: when you don't want to label yourself as something that you don't want to be. Oh, I'm too dumb. I'm too dumb for this. I got some old friends that just used to say this, and it became their reality. Like, actually, I know that these people were not that dumb. They were like normal, but because they repeated, "Oh, I'm dumb. I can't do this. I'm dumb. I went to, I didn't went to high. I didn't go to college. Right? I'm dumb." And so they repeated that, and guess what? Their lives is a complete reflection of this thought. It's crazy. Like, what you say becomes who you are, and when you think it, it's the same thing than when you say it. So pay attention to that. It's very important. It's another passage from the Bible that I took. I think it was on the same thing. It was this is what it was. I don't know if it's for the same thing. So, for we do not want you to be unaware, brothers, of the affliction we experienced in Asia. So they are telling the truth, right? They want for them to be aware. For we were so utterly burdened beyond our strength that we despaired of life itself. Indeed, we felt that we had received the sentence of death. But that was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. He delivered us from such a deadly peril, and He will deliver us. On Him we have set our hope that He will deliver us again. So, this made you think about, like, first of all, they telling the truth, and they like raise awareness in people, right? And said, this is kind of what I do, like what I want to do, because I've been, my own awareness was raised. I got new information through content, and so I want to do the same thing for you. I want to, like, tell you how it is, tell you about the suffering, and maybe give you some hope that it is possible for you to overcome, that you're not alone, and tell you how it is. Just, this is what it made me think of this, and it also made me think that they're talking about suffering, and so it made me think about, like, you'll suffer beyond your strength at some point in business, for example, and it most likely will happen in life in general as well, and you need to know that it is possible for you to overcome it, but it's the best way to overcome it is to rely on God. Like, I'm not trying to preach on you or anything like this. Just rely on a higher power, right? Something bigger than you, but something that is inside of you, right? God is within you. Like, this is the idea. God is within us. Like He's everywhere and in you. But you need to listen and trust in Him, in the universe, whatever. If you don't want to be Christian, if you don't want to be believing in God, your problem. Honestly, like, it's your loss. And it doesn't mean that you don't take responsibility. I just wanted, like, because you're responsible for taking actions with the strength and the will and the hope, because, like, believing in God makes you hopeful, makes you believe that something better could happen. And so because of this, you have the strength to persevere. You have the strength to go through more, suffer more, and so get to the other side. That's why I think it's just so useful to believe in God. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll take it back to the list. This is why I was talking to you about lying. So if I lie, if I don't face the truth, I will fail. Then, falling into temptation. So if I fall into temptation, I just will be distracted from my goals. I will get addicted. So that's another thing. Become addicted to distractions. If I do this, like I won't have urge control. I want this donut. I'm gonna eat it. It's delicious, and then I'm in too deep. And the movie Flight, which I recommend you watch, it's a pretty good movie. Actually, I didn't like the end too much, but like, it's a pretty decent movie. Like, it shows you how addictions work. Like, if you are aware of how you can be addicted, and you face the truth, you can see that. And Denzel Washington. And at one point, he's got like a good way over his addiction, and then it's just like he stumbled upon it again, and very bad. And at the lowest point, this is where he makes the decision. I don't want to go too deep into it to not spoil you. So yeah, not facing the truth. I put that in there as well. And this means for me, like, lying was at the same time, it's like lying to yourself, but like also lying to others, right? So when I said lying, that meant creating lies, because you get too deep into them, and then your life becomes a mess. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I was lying about a lot of things because I was so insecure. I was lying all the way about a lot of things, and it only brought me stress. And when I lied about something, I needed to lie about something else, and I needed to put some other people in my lie, because if the truth were to be found by someone else, like they could be like finding the truth about like some relative of yours, for example, right? If you tell your family, like I don't know, you tell your uncle something, a lie, and then he asks your brother about it, but you didn't tell your brother that you lied to him, so he needs to lie to your uncle as well. It becomes a full mess. So it's just like you don't need that much to make your life that much harder. Like, it's not worth it. Then, having a negative environment that holds you back from growing into your new identity. So it's just like reinforcement into negative habits, being influenced by negative people, and that will increase your probabilities of giving up and of not making enough progress. Ooh, it's getting late. I'll finish the list pretty quickly, and then I'll tell you about my goal. So, not believing you can succeed. So if you don't believe something, you're not gonna act accordingly with this belief. So you're just not gonna succeed. You're just not gonna do the things of success if you don't believe you can, right? Pretty simple. Not believing you deserve it. Sometimes, like, my negative voice always tells me like, you don't deserve it, really. Like, you haven't put, like, you only have been in business for 3 years. There are people like have been in business for 20 years. What you doing right now? Like, all those thoughts that come into my mind. Like, there are a lot of things like this that just make you believe that you don't deserve it. And so if you don't believe you deserve it, you're also not going to take the actions accordingly. Not working hard enough. Pretty simple. Not being healthy. That's a hard one for me. Just like the past year was completely focused on health. Like, most of it, at least half of it, was focused on health. And this year I'm trying to, like, not succeed in business while being healthy, and if possible being more healthy, being healthier. Also, forgetting. Oh, wait, not having good and meaningful relationships that will make you ill, which will make you ill mentally. When I was fully focused on business, I was like, always alone, and I got lonely, and you feel like success is not worth it anymore, because you don't have any meaningful relationships, because you'll be like having, like, I could actually see myself being alone in a great mansion or a great supercar, any possessions, any accomplishments, and I won't be happy with myself because I don't have nobody to share this with. Just like, Life is worthless without good, meaningful relationships. So it's never late, I believe, to start creating them and making the time for it. I really struggle with this, and I know it's not going to be my focal point this year as well. But I try to just see more people. Just like this is my goal in this area. Then, forgetting what you want and why you want that. Like if you forget, like you would be surprised how your memory is flawed. Like you just go like, especially when it gets hard, you forget why you want what you want. You feel like it's just not worth it because of the suffering. Like right now, it's so like you're suffering so much right now that you feel like any kind of goal would be worthless compared to just not having this pain anymore. And so you need to not forget what you want and why you want it. And for that, the mindset training is a great tool to not forget and always remember, and even have it in your subconscious mind so that you just never have this have the a chance of forgetting. Then, not believing you can change, progress, and become better. Pretty much the same thing of not believing that you can succeed. Not live in integrity. So that is something that you will not believe that you deserve it. And so because you won't believe that you deserve it, you will not act to make you have the things that you want. Making emotional decisions on the spot. When you feel down, you kind of don't want to do it again. Like you don't want to continue to persevere. So if you don't persevere, you're gonna give up, and this is what it is. That's pretty much it. So after that, not taking responsibility for every single thing in my life. Sometimes I just like for my hands. I was like full, like I was like I'm giving my hands to doctors, and they are going to do what they do best: heal people. Well, it doesn't happen to go this way. It didn't happen to go this way. I have to take responsibility for my problems. It's my problems. I need to fix it, right? And everything in my life right now is my problem. Sometimes you feel like even though you're aware of this concept, you don't really necessarily act accordingly with it in all areas of your life. Maybe in your business, you like taking responsibility, but you're not taking responsibility in your health, in your relationships, in what happens in the day-to-day life. Not being proactive to solve problems instead of reacting to them. Kind of the same thing, but it's like more subtle. Not being like, it's basically like seeing a problem and fix it before it becomes a bigger problem. That's basically what I meant. Letting people waste your time and steal from your time, money, energy, and focus. I'm really bad at just ending conversations. For example, at the gym, someone like takes me hostage in his conversation, talking about himself. I just can't tell him like, shut up, and I need to go. I have a difficult time doing this. I don't want to hurt people's feeling, and I feel really bad when I do this because I don't like I like helping people. Like I'm a really like I'm I think empathic. I have some. Sometimes I'm not empathic at all. I got my seasons, right? Sometimes I'm empathic, and sometimes I'm just angry, and I just like don't care. It depends. Uh, Being too cheap. Oh, it's going to cost too much to learn this skill. Oh, it's going to cost too much to hire this person. You know, all these little things here and there, like just prevent you from getting to it. Like, don't care about the cost. If it's worth it, it's worth it. Go ahead. Like, go pay the price. I'm telling this to myself, right? Remaining indecisive, big problem for me. I'm too scared of making bad decisions and suffering because of them, and so I just don't make a decision, and I suffer even more. So I just like decide. I need to reward the decision, not if it's right or wrong, just deciding. And if you decide, it's a good thing. Good point. Good job, boy. Good job. That's it. Don't care about the result. Just you decided. Great job, dude. Great. Getting stuck thinking and having anxiety about bad potential things happening in the future. Pretty straightforward. wasting time on non-essential things. So, I'll waste time here and there doing some little work that won't matter too much, when in reality I should be focusing on what is absolutely essential, what would be making me the most amount of progress, right? Playing it safe, kind of the same thing that being too cheap, or not taking risk enough, being too comfortable. Like saying, okay, you got some level of success, you want to stay there, right? And something that occurred to me this week was, I reminded myself, because sometimes when I visualize my goals, I immediately stop. When I succeed having a clear image, I immediately stop. I feel like I've done it. I feel like I've succeeded at bringing this image to life. I'm like, okay, stop. Like, not consciously. I just like often do this. And I noticed when I got some little level of success in business as well, it was the same thing. I got comfortable immediately after it. I was like, okay, I'm done. Mission done. And so I need to be aware that I need to push through the goals, push through and keep succeeding, not succeed once. Like, become the person that just succeeds all the time and continues, like push through, like doesn't stop once he has achieved something, because he could achieve like 10 times more than this. And so having higher standards as well serves, which, by the way, I tell you how to do by shifting your identity in the mindset training that I talked about. Maybe there's a link below on those mindset training, which I suggest you watch. And yeah, this was the list of the 30 things that I think will prevent me from succeeding, and I think will prevent you as well. And one of the things was not be focused. And this is why I chose to, for now, at the moment at least, stop the YouTube videos I'm uploading. I'm uploading the YouTube videos that I filmed throughout my journey, right? And I'm uploading them right now. I didn't upload them back in the time, and I think it doesn't make sense right now for me to take time. It's not worth it for me to take time and upload them right now, and having this on my mind. Plus, I'm trying to do this podcast journaling like this. I think I'm going to just focus on this podcast. It's going to be taking much less time for me and be more rewarding for me. Like it helps me like just get my ideas out there. Like it helps me like right now. This is also why I do this. I do this to literally document the process. And I suggest you do the same thing. In some way, externalize what you learned. Externalize what happened. I think it's great. Makes me feel good. I feel rested when I do this. And so I want to eliminate these parts of my life so I can focus, because I was overwhelmed this week because I was focused too much on my health, and I need my business. I need to pay attention to my business as well. I need to, like, especially my health. Like, my health became a big problem. I can't focus on something else at the same time, and let alone having a social life or anything like this. So I thought, like, I need to reduce as many things as possible in my life so I can focus on one and only thing. My goal would be to just focus on business, to be honest with you. I would like to just focus on that, and this is what I did, but it didn't work. It got me into big trouble. So I don't suggest you do this, and I won't do this anymore. And I'll try to fix my life to be able to, at the same time, be healthy and succeed in business, achieving my goals, and at the same time helping you guys out. I really appreciate your time right now. If you like this video, if you like this podcast, please share the show. Share it to a friend, to your followers. I don't know if it helped you out. If it didn't, don't share it. I think it did. So I'll see you in another podcast. Take care.